Hey guys, so I'm here today to show you some of the things that you received in your toolkits on Friday. Okay, so first thing you should have received is a wooden board. Okay, you never want to put your clay directly on here when you're constructing something, but this is really good to help kind of dry out your clay a little bit if you're wanting things to dry out. Remember, it's absorbent, it's wood. If you put clay on here, it will absorb that moisture. Okay, so just know you don't want to build right on here. You want to put a trash bag over top of this so that way you have a good surface. Okay. Second thing that you got is a sketchbook. Okay. It's like 70 pages. It's got a lot of space. Please use it. Okay. It's for ceramics. So we're going to do vocab in here. We're going to do obviously all your sketching in here, reflections, that kind of stuff. And then you'll take pictures of some of the pages. So feel free to draw in this. It's your sketchbook for ceramics. Okay. You also received a blue paper. Oh, sorry, I keep bouncing the screen. A blue paper towel. This is a shop towel. These are really good for helping keep your work hydrated. So, how you use this is you get it wet, okay, and then you wring out most of the moisture. You don't want to have this soaking wet because then you're going to end up with a mud puddle and you can't fix that. You just have to let the air dry it out, okay? And then what you can do is if you don't want your stuff to dry out at all, you can gently wrap it in your towel, okay? And then you have to put this inside of a plastic bag. It can be a garbage bag. It can be the Ziploc bag that you got with nothing else in it, so take out all this stuff. But you want to put this in a bag, okay? If you don't put it in a bag, this is going to dry out, which means that what's inside of it is going to dry out too, okay? So just keep that in mind. The other thing you got is this lovely Ziploc bag with a whole bunch of stuff. So please read this little paper that I so nicely provided for you. It tells you everything that you should have received, including your 25-pound brick of clay for the semester. It talks about each of the tools that are in here. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick rundown. First thing, you've got a sheet of canvas. Okay, canvas is like what you paint on if you're a painter, but this stuff is really good for rolling out your slabs on top of, building on top of this during some work time. Put it on the kitchen table so you don't mess up your kitchen table, all that kind of stuff. But the one thing you don't want to do is leave your clay on this because, like I said about the board, it's absorbent. Okay, which means it'll suck the moisture out of your project. Okay. Another thing that you guys have in here is this guy. This is a 1.25 or something dowel rod, and this is for you to help roll out some of your slabs at home. Okay, so when you're working on the kitchen table or whatever, you're gonna put this down. You're gonna probably have a piece of wood on the sides to help you with your thickness, and I'll talk to you about that when we start to do slabs. And you're gonna roll with this guy. Okay. If you have a rolling pin at home, by all means use the rolling pin instead if this isn't cutting it for you. Hydro Flask will also work pretty well, but I want to make sure I provide something for you guys to roll out your slabs with because you're going to need to, okay? You also should have this little guy. This is a rake. I don't want to fall off the chair. You can't really see that. Here, I'll put them on my phone. Can you see that? Okay, so a rake is good for slipping and scoring. So when you scratch and attach your clay walls together, this guy is money, so don't lose him. Plus, he's probably the most expensive tool. The rest of the toolkits came like this, okay? You should have received in here a little sponge, which is really good for, wetting. You never want to add a lot of moisture to clay, but wet it, wring it out, smooth things, okay? Big pear tool. This is good for hollowing out thick objects. So if you're making a sculpture and you got to scoop things out, this works really well. We also use it for trimming when we're throwing. This is the same kind of thing, okay, except it is also it's double-ended. So it's got a square end and it's got this rounded end, and it's also good for scooping. But the other cool thing that this does is it makes like a feather or a what do you call it? Scale texture. There we go. And what you can do is you can actually take this guy and press it in, and then you work your way towards the top, and you get like little feathers or scales. like that, okay? The other thing you can do is actually push in at an angle and lift up a little bit, and that'll actually, like, this clay is a little dry. Oh, I broke it. But it'll lift. You can take it out too. But it'll help you get like a 3D texture if you just kind of press it in and then tilt it up. Okay. So that's this guy. Double loop tool. And then you also have, check on the time. I got 2 different kinds of ribs. I got a wood rib and a metal rib. This is good for using my arm as the clay to like smooth at an angle. Okay, you kind of drag it. You don't want to go like that because it doesn't do anything good. But if you wet this a little, smooth it. Same thing with this guy. Good for curved things, interiors, bowls. This is good for flat stuff. You're trying to smooth out a slab. Use these. Okay. Moisture is key. It's going to help keep that surface lubricated so you don't drag and rip your clay. Needle tools, got a little plastic sheath. For writing your name, drawing, cutting. We didn't get knives in these kits, so you're going to cut with this guy too. That'll work really well. Most people use this for scratch and attach, but I told you I bought you a nice money tool. Use this, okay? Wooden knife, okay? Rounded side, pointy side. Can you see that? Pointy side is really good also for cutting or drawing. Really hard to reach spots when you have to blend. This guy is really good for blending. So this is like the scoopy end. So if you have to blend 2 pieces of clay together, you can use this guy to blend. Okay. Every time we put clay together, we add moisture. So I'm going to have some students start making slip. You can do this at home in any kind of cup. All this is some clay. So I took one of my broken stamps, stuck it in here with some hot water, put a lid on it, just left it in here for an hour. Now we got some slip. It's very liquidy, okay? But anytime you attach clay together, you're going to do scratch and attach, slip and score. You put the liquid on a little bit, goes a long way. You scratch it like Velcro. Scratch the crap out of it on both parts where you want them to go together. And then you use this guy to blend that together, okay? Last thing you got is a wire cutter, okay? This is something that you're going to use is like a wire with the 2 wooden dowels on the end. I don't want to open this because I'm going to give it to somebody. And that's to use to cut the clay off the brick, okay? So when you're cutting clay off the brick, and I'll talk to you guys about this in our next video, do not just cut slivers. It's a waste of your time. Pull that bag open, cut yourself a good like inch or so. For our first project, when we make that catch-all dish, we're going to start out with about 1 pound of clay. For your stamps, you literally need this much. So if you cut a piece off and you cut a corner off of that piece, it should give you enough for stamps. Most people's stamps are about this big. Okay, this is a texture stamp. So remember, you're pressing into texture that you like. This is my initial stamp, about the same size. So you maybe use a 1/2 pound, like not much at all for that stamp project. So I hope that helps explain some of your tools that you're getting in your toolbox. Remember, our first thing that we are going to do from home is work on those stamps. So remember, go back into those previous weeks if you need help trying to figure out how to actually roll the clay out. I also made a video for you on the stamps and some tips to help you carve. So make sure you guys watch that from the Wednesday class period. And that's about it. See you guys in class later.